Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Big shout out to all the iTrack fan, man. Tapping in like you always do. Huge shout out to all the members, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tapping in like you always do. Per usual, I have a handful of interesting and creepy videos for us to go ahead and evaluate for ourselves, whether these are fact or fake. Now, let's not even waste time. Let's jump right into it.
That has never been seen before of Jeffrey Epstein's home in his private island has been released by James O'Keefe, and there's a lot of really weird things going on. It's of his library, and of course in the library there is a lot of books like Ernest Hemingway and stuff like that, but there was also a book called The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie, and really weird statues like winged figures and plague masks, a woman washing herself, a horsewhip under the chalkboard. But the chalkboard itself might be one of the most interesting things because of the words on it. It includes words like power, deception, mirror in face, dank brain. I have no idea what any of this stuff means. Maybe you guys do. But James O'Keefe compares it to the notes that he wrote in his prison cell, and a lot of these words do match. So maybe it gives a hint that this was written by him before he was arrested. James O'Keefe also released a video of his kitchen, and there was an inappropriate picture, so I'm not going to show that video on here, but very, very interesting and odd stuff.
Do certain cameras capture the spirits or whatever better?
Yeah, we use a lot of different types of cameras. We try to shoot what we see here is like the visible light spectrum, but we know like there's other types of light that exist. Infrared light, E-light, things like that. But we'll use cameras that are basically designed to be able to see an ultraviolet light, to be able to see an infrared light, kind of basically capture things that we can't see with our regular eyes.
Yeah, the heat one, I noticed the spirits have a different heat, right?
Yeah, we use a lot. We use thermal cameras as well that pick up heat signatures or even cold signatures too. Like we've had human forms appear, but it's like mapped as cold. Like, honestly, like that's kind of where it starts. Honestly, like a lot of people are like, "Oh, what's your favorite piece of equipment? What should I buy?" I'm like, learn it yourself. Trust your body. Trust your own feelings. We're like, we know our bodies. We know when we feel something. We walk into a room, we start feeling something. Let's pay attention to this room, to this spot, and then we start bringing out the different cameras, the different devices, to then document it.
Yeah. So the Lord told me.
Now, if Kanye West is faking, he's doing a really good job of faking because he makes it seem like he's the only one that made it, and broke out of the system. On the flip side to that, I think there's a glitch in the matrix right now where streamers, particularly, I wouldn't say at the top upper echelon, but streamers are getting their fame off of real people, and they're getting shows off of real people instead of, the whole Hollywood route or the music route where you got to get chose by, a music label or, a production company. So, it's times are changing, but more or less what he was saying was absolutely right.
What's one misconception about you?
There are no misconceptions about me.
You're gonna hear about my party, they're gonna be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody.
There's a lot of talk going on with you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together. You want to talk about that?
If I could be there as a friend during hard times, then I'm gonna be there as a friend.
So who was with you this weekend? A bunch of my friends. Did he quit?
The accusations that like even the Jesus story was taken from other myths and other religions. I think like the Egyptian god Ra or something like that. Like, how do you feel? Is it? Yes. Really?
Well,
okay.
So it's Jesus mythicism, and no historian, like even the people who doubt that Jesus exists, don't use that argument because usually historians are aware of the primary sources. And if you look at the stories of like Horus, Ra, Mithras, Attis, if you look at the details and then try to find the parallels, they're just not there. It was made up by largely and popularized by the
Dan Brown.
Oh. The movie Zeitgeist?
Yeah,
like a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
It's made up from thin air. So if you look at the actual stories of like Horus, Ra, the accusations of virgin births and 12 disciples, and you won't find them in those things.
So you're saying there's no pagan influence on Christianity?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like the accusations of Christmas is pagan, Easter is pagan, like that's nonsense.
How do we get the eggs in Easter?
That's a Middle Age thing because eggs were associated with both spring in Europe. It's a European thing.
Christmas. How do we get Santa?
Santa is like a combination of Saint Nicholas, who is a 4th century bishop, and Sinterklaas in Germany. I think it's a New York thing. I think eventually the Dutch in New York.
That's fire. Good for y'all.
Yeah, you're gonna take credit for that one?
Yeah.
I mean,
What about Halloween?
Halloween is All Hallows Eve, and the like pagan stuff appears to have been entirely invented by commercialization.
But the accusations that like even the Jesus story was taken from other myths and other religions. Is it bullshit?
Yes. If you look at the details and then try to find the parallels, they're just not there.
The #1 cyber hacking team here in the United States, Scattered Spider. They hacked in Las Vegas. They attacked Caesars and MGM resorts at the same time. It's crazy how they got in. They targeted an individual that works at MGM, found out everything they knew about the person. Eventually, when they were ready to strike, what they did is they called IT support. My name is Anthony, how you doing? I just lost my password, can you reset it please? Yeah, here's your reset password. Boom, they were in, and they inserted the malware. Caesars, they asked them, they said $15 million, and we'll release your system. They paid them the $15 million ransom. MGM said no. They ended up losing $150 million. There's another scam one of my clients told me about, and it was social engineering. He was on a plane, he was landing in Miami, and you know how when you're logging in, it says, please enter this 6-digit code that we'll send to your email. He got a list, boom, 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 Google code, Facebook code. One of them was for his crypto bank. So he immediately thought, he's like, I'm being attacked. The crypto company called him, sir, we see suspicious activity. And based upon what had just happened, let's lock it down, let's put 2-person ID, and it was the hackers. He lost 800,000 in crypto in one shot. So these guys know what they're doing. And I mean, that's not the only one I've heard of.
You know that as a human being, from the moment you're born, you slowly glycate. You slowly cook.
You start to cook.
Yes, like a chicken in the oven. And then when you're fully cooked, you die. I know it sounds crazy, but it is true. And on the inside, you're actually browning. So if you look at the cartilage of a baby, it's white. If you look at the cartilage of somebody who's 100 years old, it's brown. It's been glycated. Glycation is cooking and it's aging. Now, why am I telling you this? Because every time you have a glucose spike, it accelerates glycation. Glucose causes this cooking, causes this glycation, causes this aging. So the more glucose spikes you have, the faster you age. And this shows on your skin as wrinkles, right? I'm actually 85 years old, but you can't tell because I don't have glucose spikes. And it also ages your organs within. And that's just one of the few things that happen when you have too many glucose spikes over time.
Now that's something I had no clue about. Imagine being cooked every day. Literally just organs just being cooked, right? That's wild, man. Let me know what you think about it.
Hey, yo, y'all remember when the brat dated Allen Iverson and then why she had to call it quits?
I mean, you got a little leak of it when I was with Allen Iverson, but that's about, you know, you ain't get too, you might have thought you knew, but I never confirmed anything because I always felt like that was the only thing that I was able to have to myself, private, was my personal life. I used to wake up and pick his clothes out and cook breakfast and jack his dick off when he woke up in the morning, you know, the things he liked, just made sure he was happy. And he spoiled me and made sure I was happy. Like, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I was like, this is it. But then I think, you know, basketball players, okay,
Right,
like,
true.
he had a baby mama, some kids. He had a lot of stuff going on. So, it lasted for a good while. Both of my grandmothers, they were alive. They loved him. Like, he was so sweet to them. Like, it was good for a minute. It was good for a long time.
So it just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out. Too many bitches.
Got it.
I think the last straw was we was sitting at a hotel in the hallway outside the door just talking because some of the homies was in the room chilling watching the game or something. And this half naked bitch walks up the hallway talking about she looking for him. I'm sitting there with him. I'm like, I know you see me sitting here with this. You still gonna say you looking for him? I must have mollywopped that down the hallway. I was like, you know what? I said, I can't do this. I said, I can't do this with you.
You know, I knew Allen Iverson was an MVP, but that takes it to a whole new level, especially because she went left and never looked back.
I believe a robot that is fully AI will marry a human and vice versa for real in your lifetime at scale.
And when you say an AI, does that mean like a physical body of a robot? So you're saying that the bodies will get so good that it will look like you and like I could.
I don't know if you know this, but people have sex.
What? Jack does.
Then the physical part happens.
So what is this going to do to society if we're all just with...
Like, I've been thinking about that a lot, which is like, does a couple introduce, just like real couples introduce swinging and another partner now, is it even better to introduce an AI robot that may help whatever or emotional things are going on in that relationship to become an offsetting contributor to a marriage?
Yeah.
One could argue, this was going to be my second one, that AI will be the reason marriage increases longevity and decreases divorce.
The only reason I can see dudes start to marry robots is because they don't want to wake their game up, you know? Too scared to even approach one. So yeah, it could happen. I could definitely see that happening.
But the only reason I didn't want to start doing music earlier in my life or whatever is because I was scared of the Illuminati. I used to watch like conspiracy videos and shit, and I used to be like, oh man, I don't want to do no weird, you know what I mean? That weird shit, sacrifices, all that bullshit, you know what I mean? So I was
that was a big thing. That was a big thing.
That was a big thing back then. So I was scared of that shit, so I never wanted to make music.
You know they're closing all the Six Flags?
Good. It's local teenagers going to like make out with each other. There's so many injuries.
And you know people get decapitated all the time.
Constantly.
Yeah. And there's usually like 7 deaths a year at Six Flags, I think.
If the people that worked there had some sort of special skill or something, fine. But it's like people that are not even looking. Like I've seen people screaming that their seatbelt's not on as the ride's going. It's a literal teenager pushing a button.
Yeah, you
that's
go up.
controlling all these kids' lives. Like, no.
I have learned is that we live in a dream, a carefully constructed reality. We make use of a science that is tightly controlled and suppressed and distorted.
Who are they? Why are they here? Why don't they show us what's going on?
I think I have a good degree of confidence that the reason they're here is us. I think life, especially sentient life, is a precious thing. And I think to some, it might be a resource. I think humanity to some level is a resource.
I think the idea of wanting to be famous is immature. Honestly, you're misinformed. We should educate our artists to want to build sustainable careers where they own their rights. They can leverage the ownership of their rights by making their own deals versus being famous, because you'll be wealthier independently over a longer period of time. And when I say wealth, I'm not talking about cash. I'm talking about freedom. I'm talking about peace. I'm talking about control over your own poetic license, being able to say what you want, write what you want. If you're signed to these companies, they own your name and likeness. They can tell you that you can't release music. They can put your music on the shelf. It's very dangerous if you want to really be free.
You know what? The idea of fame is definitely an immature thought, because when you really look at it, it really means nothing. It comes down to nothing unless you know how to leverage it, you know? But other than that, we know a lot of famous people, but they're out here doing bad and down bad. But let me know what you think.
I couldn't believe his eyes. While waiting at a traffic light, he saw something that looked like a glitch in the Matrix. The streetlight kept flashing on and off, making the tree in front of him disappear and reappear like a real-life glitch. And he wasn't the only one stunned. Right in front of him, a truck driver had to pull over just to figure out what was happening. It was like they both stumbled into a real-life video game, just when you think you've seen it all.
How y'all think this got to TMZ? Halle Bailey and Chloe Bailey, known as Chloe X Halle, are signed to Beyonce's record label and management company. They have been referred to as Beyonce's proteges. Maybe there's somebody else in the mix. Maybe they have some connects to that. Trust me, she don't know how to send that shit to TMZ. Let me tell you how it got to TMZ. Remember, I told you that. And remember when I had told y'all when DDG got online and he was talking about visitation, and he's like, man, I can't see my kid if I don't ba or I don't ba. And I said, DDG, you want to go to court? And I think he had responded to that. He basically said, I don't want to do this. That's where you fucked up, brother. Because you not going to court. These chicks care about their public perception. She dropped the bomb on your ass.
Good morning, everybody. So, I have started my day. A good start off to the day so far. and I'm at a supercharger right now charging my car, but I have to go to the dentist, and I haven't been in a really long time, and I'm just a little bit nervous, guys. Like, I've always been a little scared of the dentist, but I'm going for my regular cleaning, and also because I chipped my tooth, and I'm just a little nervous. It's been like, I know you're supposed to go like every 6 months, I think. It's been like a good, since before Halo. So I'm a little nervous, and I just don't want my teeth to be too sensitive. So we're gonna see how this goes.
In a relationship, I think I have anxious attachment style. Everybody knows I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything. I'm good at that, right? And if I gotta yell or check anyone, that's what I gotta do. That's just the way I be.
Clap back or sit back. I always have to choose clap back. I'm sorry. I'm a very kind person, but if somebody pokes at me or the people that I love, it's over for you. I'm an Aries. Sorry.
Never have I ever started drama with my boyfriend for no reason.
Put it down.
I've, you know. I'm territorial. I'm a jealous girlfriend. I'm a territorial girlfriend. Where you go, who are you with? That's me.
I am nosy, number one. And number two, I like drama. I just don't like drama in my life, but I love watching it in other people's. So, I love my baby so much. I need him with me in order to function, in order to be able to do the scenes and everything. So, he's been out here with me the majority of the time. But this week, and I go home on the weekends. But this week, I had a lighter week, and I'm going home tomorrow. So I got here last night, and I'm going home tomorrow. So I was like, let me try to test myself and see if I can be without him for a day and leave him, let him and his daddy have daddy and son time. And you guys, I miss him so much. But everybody knows Moo is the best daddy to him, but I miss him so much. Yesterday on the plane, I was crying, and I went to you know, the little airport stores. I bought a teddy bear, and I was like clutching it to my chest. I bought a Build-A-Bear and a blanket, and I was clutching it to my chest, literally on the plane last night, crying to not feel like miserable without him. I love him so much, guys. I don't know how this is possible. Anyway.
Now, there's a lot to unpack in all of those clips because, you know what, right now we're looking at how media can spin things. You know what, one major takeaway that everybody should take away from that is you definitely don't want to put all of your business on the internet. You don't know how well it's going to age. You know, keep some things to yourself. Your every emotion does not need to be on the internet. It just doesn't. Not your every emotion.
I know how this world works. After working in the industry, I converted my business to combat human trafficking. His views skewed when it comes to sexual activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a sexual deviant. I've had FBI come to my house before and tell me they found a threat against my life. Somebody didn't want me to do this interview. This is a dangerous game people are playing, and some people deserve retribution.
You clearly feel that Sean Combs made people disappear.
I know this situation's dangerous. I've had several attempts on my life throughout my career.
Other people say that Diddy was a Fed himself, that he was on their payroll. Do you think that's a possibility?
So if there's smoke, there's fire, Pierce. I've very rarely seen any straight dudes in this industry, man. All bisexual weirdos. I don't want to be the only straight man at the party.
And what would you like to happen to him?
I'll say this.
Yep. Tesla Biohealing and MedBed centers exist all over the US. I've invested heavily in their products, and I wanted to show you what it does. So I took some old flowers that were wilting, weren't doing so good, Put him on my Tesla biohealing generator for about 40 minutes and voila. Now imagine, if it's doing that to flowers, what is it doing to your cells?
Space-time is a tiny little data structure in my consciousness, and I create it on the fly as I need. So that's how outrageous what I'm saying is. To be very, very explicit, and maybe to shock people, I'm a cognitive neuroscientist, but I'll say this: neurons do not exist when they're not perceived, because nothing inside space-time exists when it's not perceived. Space-time itself does not exist when it's not perceived.
Ritual in the White Mountains of Arizona. They physically brought like a black stone altar. They trucked this thing in and then carried it into the White Mountain Apache reservation to their high place that's out there. And they brought a huge pig with them. And the man who was the high priest over it came up from Phoenix, Arizona to govern this ritual. He had that brown, charred, soggy skin and feeble, like needing help, but he was the master of ceremonies. As people took their positions and began to initiate that ritual, when they slaughtered the pig on the altar, abuse is happening around it. When he drank the blood of the sacrifice of the person, his complexion came back to life, like he lost 20 years on his life. His skin transformed in front of my face to be that of a much younger man, and his spine stood erect. The joints of his hands were straightened out. That is a vampire.
On this path, I've been poisoned 3 times. My toxicology report showed cyanide, and cyanide metabolizes into pneumonia in your body. So I've had pneumonia on 3 occasions. And these problems didn't start for me until I started to speak out about people like this. It's been a hard time to line up this interview, because the last time I was scheduled to be in this interview, randomly, our car gets hit from the side by a blacked out vehicle, no license plate.
You got Rihanna? She got into the, and Haley is signed to the baby, which means she's signed to the Jigga Man. Her baby daddy, didn't nobody know that she was pregnant until right before the end, and then it was all wonderful, and it was great, and then all of a sudden he's not treating her right. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Are we sure that's real? Because she got a restraining order against him. He said that he was defending himself from her, just like Chris Brown was defending himself from Rihanna in that car. She said she had a chick too. But then again, it was also noted that that chick was too, it was broken before this incident. Yeah. So that was just going back, and we just snatching up everything that happened and then throwing it in there. That's what we do. Kiki Palmer and Paulo do. Yeah. Also attached to the Jigga Man and the Diddler. And from what I remember, Kiki's baby daddy is also a Diddyite as well, and been messed over by the Diddler. Allegedly. And then the whole thing blew up with Usher disrespecting that man all over his woman. You see? Do you see how they put their little minions out there? Yeah, I see. Jeez. Why is it? And then it brings us back to Megan and Terry. Why he always putting these whack ass bitches on men that he can't control? Or men that tell him no. And then the next thing you know, they tell him no, and then everybody's in court. Everybody's a woman beater. Everybody's got restraining orders. Guess what? As long as he's got that restraining order on, he can't legally carry firearm, which means if anybody run up on him, yes. Liquid handcuffs. Paper handcuffs. Come on. That's what they do. That basically is like Tory.
I am not saying anything new. I'm just speaking on what's already out there, but the timing of all of this is very interesting. You have Tory Lanez, DDG, and Chris Brown. Now, I'm just going to point out the similarities between these men. They're all in the spotlight, they're caught up in messy legal drama, and they're all romantically tied to the women connected to Roc Nation. Megan Thee Stallion, Halle Bailey, and Rihanna. And this is where it gets crazy. Recently, Kelsey's bodyguard came forward speaking about it. claiming that it wasn't even Tory Lanez who pew-pewed Megan, and that it was actually Kelsey who pew-pewed her. And now he's in the hospital recovering 14 wounds.
He was stabbed 14 times, 5 times in his back, 1 under his left cheekbone, twice in the back of his head, and the rest in his torso, arms, and in his chest. Thankfully, like Dr. King, it was close to his heart but did not penetrate.
And then Chris Brown posted "Free Tory," and boom, the same day he's arrested in Manchester for something that allegedly happened 2 years ago. He denied his bail. His next court date is not until June 13th. And not to mention the whole Rihanna and Chris Brown thing was a setup. And most of us know the history between Jay-Z and Rihanna is real sticky. Whole nother topic, but let me know if y'all want a video on that. And somehow Rock Nation always walks away clean. While the men connected to their women, they're the ones who fall. But if you think that's wild, wait till we get to DDG and Holly. But we're gonna wrap this up. Stay tuned for part 2. And drop a 1 in the chat if you agree.
Hey, there's so many levels to this, but there's also a lot of common threads, you know? And for those who are paying attention, it ain't hard to see.
5 foods to grow new brain cells quickly. 1. Fatty fish salmon, mackerel, and sardines are loaded with omega-3s, DHA, and EPA that literally build new neuron wiring. Think of them as brain fuel bricks. Stack them up for sharper memory and focus. 2. Blueberries. These tiny berries pack anthocyanins, antioxidants that reduce inflammation and boost brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, the key protein your brain uses to grow new cells. Snack on a handful daily for a mental edge. 3rd, turmeric curcumin, the bright ingredient in turmeric, crosses your blood-brain barrier and stimulates BDNF production too. Stir it into smoothies or golden milk for an anti-inflammatory neurogrowth boost. 4. Dark chocolate. Go for 70% cacao or higher. The flavonols in dark chocolate improve blood flow to your brain and raise BDNF levels. A small square can jumpstart your brain's growth mode. No guilt required. 5. Walnuts. These brain-shaped nuts aren't just cute, they're packed with ALA, a plant-based omega-3, antioxidants, and vitamin E. Munch a handful to help protect neurons and encourage new cell growth.
There could have been other more advanced civilizations, not just 1, not just 2. 4.6 billion years. Like, people are always going in about billionaires and how, like, you can't spend $1 billion in a lifetime. Okay, you can't conceptualize what 1 billion years is. We've only been around for here. And we think, because we're so, not we, but our scientists want us to believe that we're so arrogant that, like, it's just been us.
Yeah.
How do we know that AI is just not constantly being replicated on this planet by different civilizations, and they may not even have necessarily have been human? So that's just the first. They could have been cat. Like, our bodies are essentially the evolved forms of apes. That's what we're told. But then there could be the evolved forms of cats. There could be the evolved forms of reptiles.
I think when it comes to Hollywood is, can they control you? Can you play the game of Hollywood? If you're brought up through the system, then they control you. And then when you want to leave the system, that's a whole discussion on, like, what happened with Louis C.K., even like Michael Jackson. It's like they wanted to leave the system to do their own thing. And when the system blows you up, it gets really mad when you try to leave the reservation. And some of it is just how much will you conform? So yeah, you got to compromise. You got to bend over backwards, because the amount of people necessary to get a gig, the amount of green lights you need is insane. So if you have one person who caught a tweet that they didn't like, red light, you don't get the gig. So you have to conform. So that does in fact happen.
We got to really be careful, because it's happening right now with Indeed. Did you hear about what happened with Indeed? Like how people are going on interviews missing? Nah. There's listings on Indeed saying, hey, we're hiring for a receptionist job in, various areas, right? Mm-hmm. These jobs that they're going to are in warehouses or at night. Okay. Now people are missing in Florida and in Atlanta. How long has this been going on for? I don't know. It's just recently. It's been reported now. I don't know how long it's been going, but there's people reportedly missing now that are from these job postings. Now we got to watch for fake postings and people, because that, again, that's the biggest business on earth, the movement of people.
People preying on people that need it too. Like people are looking for jobs.
That's crazy.
4 major lessons in life to learn. Here they are. Number 1, learn how to handle the winters. And there's all kinds of winters, right? The winter when it won't work, when you've run out of money and you've got a broken heart. You can't get rid of January by tearing it off the calendar. Here's what you can do. You can get stronger, you can get wiser, and you can get better. Here's lesson 2. Learn how to take advantage of the spring. Spring is called opportunity. See, just because spring rolls around is no sign you're going to look good come fall. You gotta do something with it. Here's the 3rd major lesson in life to learn. Learn how to protect your crops all summer. You've got to learn to prevent the intruder from taking all the good you start. All good will be attacked. All values must be defended. Every garden must be tended all summer. Now here's number 4. Learn how to reap in the fall without complaint. Take full responsibility for what happens to you. It's one of the highest forms of human maturity, accepting full responsibility.
I don't care if we on the run. I don't care if we on the run. As long as I am next to you. Baby, long as I'm next to you. That's what that goofy said. That's what she said. You don't even like that. You don't like him. Then I wonder how everyone's going to feel about their choices when all hell and fire comes because you wanted to go to a concert with some weirdo who is too old and knees is so tired that she's her child. Y'all think it's cute seeing that little girl dancing to Deja Vu? She's too young to be doing that dance routine, running around looking like a wild banshee. Like seriously? How do y'all see the images of Blue Ivy doing all of the crap that she's doing and you're not literally disgusted? How? They've been working that girl like a slave, forcing her to learn those routines, forcing her to do all of that crap so a mama can go into the stable and take a rest.
I know my man Kid Cudi had this much game, but Cassie testified she kept having freak-offs with Diddy while dating Kid Cudi. And he went on to release some wild music after this time, and he probably was going through something. I mean, your girl that you dating tell you that she's still having freak-offs with Diddy is wild. And Diddy was threatening them. Diddy was a sassy mob, but he like gangsterlicious.
Black magic, according to Kabbalah, is real and does exist. What is black magic? How do you know if you've been exposed? And how can you protect yourself? In short, black magic is the drawing down of the creator's energy into a vessel that is not stable, a vessel that has not earned that energy, hence why it's black. Black means energy that isn't revealed. A person can use black magic to borrow energy in the form of healing, finding a relationship, or becoming wealthy. But the problem is this energy is borrowed and not earned via the channels of spiritual work. Energy without a vessel is then given over to the impure system.
This is real life, real time. This is what I'm looking at right now. This in the stock. I don't know what it is. Came out of nowhere, really. But this.
How do they control the companies? They literally control them. They ensure that military people in the know that are aware of the special access programs are the ones that get appointed to the positions of the board of directors in those companies. And what does that create? That creates a situation where those people have a vested interest, an incentive to cover up the information because now they're liable. So imagine, let's just say, I'm going to choose a name at random. Let's say your name is General Joseph F. Dunford. Just as a random name to throw out there. Let's say that you were told to start Space Force under Trump, and that maybe or maybe you're not aware that we can teleport airplanes, specifically MH370. And maybe you get promoted to be in the highest ranked military position in the entire United States under Obama right after that happens. After you build the Space Force for us under Trump, because remember your name is General Joseph F. Dunford, then you go ahead and you retire. As the highest ranking military member, you say, I'm done. Where do you go? Where do you go, chat? What do you do after you're the highest ranking military member, may or may not know about teleportation technology, set up Space Force? The Lockheed Martin Board of Directors. You become board of directors at Lockheed Martin. That's what happens. You go to the defense contractors because you got to make sure that they never talk. Nobody ever says that we got super advanced technology. Nobody ever blows the whistle on the fact that we use it in covert operations. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, they take the term keeping it in the family literally, from the chairman all the way down to the engineer. So there's definitely a real tight lock and key around all that information.
You've seen the animations of what all the satellites look like orbiting the Earth right now?
Oh, it's wild, right? Yeah.
It's insane.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. Those are in low Earth orbit.
Yeah, there you go. Click that.
Holy shit.
How crazy is that, dude?
I mean, honestly, you think about that from the perspective of aliens. Like, if aliens are watching, they're like, wait a second.
Like, holy fuck,
They
dude.
got a lot of stuff.
Look at that. Look how many are farther out.
Yeah.
We live in a dream, a carefully constructed reality. We make use of a science that is tightly controlled and suppressed and distorted. I think we are left behind. Humans. I think normies, the normal humans, the people have been left behind. Us. People need to understand that we might have freedom of speech, but that has been subverted. We do not have freedom of inquiry. We are blocked from learning what we need to know. Just in the public world, we are blocked from advancing in science. We are taught false science intentionally to prevent us from learning more. We live in the Matrix. It's just much more boring than the movie. You are not free. And this reality has far more to it than you have been allowed to believe. And God is real.
There definitely are a lot more questions than there are answers. And I will agree with them. God is real. We know that for a fact.
When you leave for 6 to 8 hours, your dog doesn't think Mom's been gone for 7 hours and 23 minutes. They experience time in a completely different reality than humans do. Your dog isn't tracking minutes or hours. They're tracking your absence through the fading of your scent. Scientists discovered that a dog's sense of how long you've been gone is tied to how much your scent has dissipated in the home. Your smell literally becomes their clock. When you first leave, your scent is strong, creating a sensory impression of present, but not visible. As hours pass and your scent molecules break down, they begin to experience your absence differently. That's why they get more excited when you've been gone 8 hours versus 30 minutes. They're not counting time. They're measuring how much of you has vanished from their sensory world. Their internal rhythm also works differently. While humans use the prefrontal cortex to track time, dogs use their circadian rhythm and association patterns. This is why they know exactly when it's dinner time or walk time. Not because they can read a clock, but because their bodies have internal rhythms tied to daily routines. Instead of minutes and hours, dogs track time through how much your scent has faded, changes in light and shadow across the home, their own hunger and bladder pressure, sounds that mark the day, mail delivery, school buses, traffic patterns. When you see videos of dogs acting differently based on how long you've been gone, that's actually real. Researchers found that dogs greet differently after 2 hours versus 12 hours. The most fascinating part? Their sense of time actually expands or contracts based on your special relationship. Dogs with stronger attachment bonds show more dramatic differences in greeting behaviors based on time away. So no, your dog doesn't know you've been gone precisely 6 hours. They experience something far more profound, the emotional rhythm of your presence fading and returning. And that's infinitely more special than simply watching a clock.
That your grandkids will marry an AI human.
What's your conviction level on that?
100%.
That they're going to marry an
That
AI?
your grandchild is going to marry an AI human.
So this is what we've been talking about. I think people are going to have relationships, fully AI boyfriend, girlfriends. I think it's going to be indistinguishable.
The Soul Trap, hidden truth of our reality. In the beginning, beyond time and space as we know it,
there existed the true source of all creation, what the Gnostics called the pleroma, a realm of pure divine light and consciousness. From this divine source emerged Sophia, the embodiment of wisdom, whose flawed creation gave rise to our false reality. The demiurge, a flawed creator deity, fashioned what we call reality. Unaware of the true divine realms above him, he built a mechanical universe, not of pure light like the pleroma, but of matter and limitation. This is the cosmic mechanism known as the sky machine, designed to contain consciousness in an endless cycle. What we perceive as natural sky phenomena are actually parts of a vast mechanical system. The sky machine. Behind the clouds lie tracks and gears controlling the movements of celestial bodies. When souls leave their physical bodies, they're drawn toward an artificial light. Not salvation, but a recycling system designed to trap consciousness. Behind the veil of our perceived reality, the archons operate a vast cosmic control system. These entities, neither fully physical nor spiritual, manipulate the machinery that maintains our illusory world. From their control panels, they position the mechanical sun, moon, and stars on predetermined tracks. They adjust weather patterns and cloud formations to conceal the true mechanical nature of the sky. Most insidiously, they generate the artificial light that draws departing souls upward, funneling consciousness into recycling chambers to be stripped of awareness and returned to physical incarnation. Their purpose, to feed off the emotional and spiritual energy of trapped souls, preventing our escape from the material prison. Ancient texts like the Book of Enoch describe how Enoch was taken beyond the firmament to witness the true nature of our reality. He described seeing a place which burns day and night, where there are 7 mountains of magnificent stones. The Book of Enoch speaks of hollow places that contain the souls of the dead, with sinners and the righteous separated into different realms. This wasn't metaphorical. It described the mechanical structure of our cosmic prison, the sorting mechanism of the soul trap. The ancient Atlantean civilization, a society of highly advanced people, possessed profound knowledge of the cosmic truth. Their crystal temples housed astronomical models, revealing the mechanical nature of the firmament. Atlantean priests taught initiates how to recognize the artificial systems controlling our reality. Their technologies weren't just for material comfort, but served as tools to navigate beyond the material trap. They created energy beams capable of temporarily opening gateways through the firmament, portals to escape the recycling system. Their sacred knowledge later spread to other civilizations, with fragments preserved in ancient texts around the world. Abraxas stands as the guardian at the threshold of liberation, neither good nor evil, but beyond such dualistic concepts. With the head of a rooster, the body of a man, and legs of serpents, this cosmic entity defies the false categories imposed by the demiurge's system. Abraxas reveals how the soul trap operates by reflecting its false light with a shield of truth, showing souls the mechanical nature of what appears divine. For those with eyes to see, Abraxas creates openings in the firmament, cracks in the cosmic dome through which liberated consciousness can escape the recycling system and return to the true source. This entity teaches that transcendence comes through embracing both the light and dark aspects of existence. When your time in this physical form ends, remember the truth that has been revealed. The bright light is not salvation, it's the entrance to the recycling system. Through awareness of the mechanical nature of our reality, souls can choose a different path. Beyond the firmament, beyond the sky machine, beyond the material illusion, that is where true liberation awaits. The truth has always been hidden in plain sight, in ancient texts, in mystical traditions, and now in the evidence captured by those with eyes to see. The soul trap can only hold those who remain unaware of its existence. Knowledge is freedom, awakening is escape.
That might just be a well-illustrated cartoon, or it might just be one of the realest things you ever heard. Either way, the choice is yours. Do your homework, man. Do your research. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button and join the iTrack fam, man. We are on the road to 200,000 subscribers. And I would love to get there by at least December. So, man, let's just sub up and let's get to it. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.